really quick overview of clicker training. The training techniques we feature are based on positive reinforcement. You'll see we often use a clicker while working with our dogs. Here are some basic tips to keep in mind if you're new to clicker training. The clicker is used to tell the dog exactly what behavior you like as it is occurring, and it also lets the dog know a reward is coming. Behaviors that are reinforced are more likely to be repeated in the future. Do your best to click the instant the behavior occurs, then deliver the reward within a second after clicking. Just be sure the click comes first before delivering the reward. Each time you click, a reward should always follow.
Come on, Ruth. Show everybody what you can do, babe. There you go.
Last one and get it has the quickest time.
Yep, she does. It took Ruth 3 weeks to learn how to do this.
Trainer Catherine Cromer came to one of our seminars and then went home and rescued an abandoned pet at the animal shelter in order to practice her own shaping skills. She videotaped the process, step by step, and I'd like to use Catherine Cromer's video to review the process of clicker training.
The first step is to establish the conditioned reinforcer, or the marker signal, that you're going to use to tell the animal when it's done the right thing.
Get the cat to associate this noise with that food. We're also pairing clicking with petting, which she enjoys just as much as the food. I'm sure not all cats do, but this one does, so we use it.
It's important in the beginning to use things the animal really likes, especially good food, for example. The next step, when you have a signal, is to shape a behavior, in this case, targeting.
Now we're going to get her to touch or target in this case, a magic wand. You don't need a magic wand to train a cat, but this one seems to enjoy it.
Now, in the first few lessons, the animal's going to be a little inattentive. That was true of some of the puppies that we started with in Gusto. That will improve with time.
First, we show it to her. She touches it. She hears the click, which by now means that she's going to be eating or being petted. Now, she's fairly consistent on touching it, so we're going to add a cue to it, a command to do it,
Touch it. We're going to move it to different sides of the table. Touch it. So that she learns to come at some distance. Touch it. And then in order to increase her enthusiasm, we put it on an intermittent schedule of reinforcement, which means that she'll do it more than once. Touch it. To get a reward. Touch it. And this very often increases the intensity of the performance.
Varying the effort required to increase the intensity of the performance. Very important, and also adding a cue.
We're going to be able to direct her onto a platform. First we get her to, she's smelling over there, food I guess, get her to touch target. Okay, she did that right away, which I didn't expect.
Now Kathy can use one learned behavior, following the target stick, to train other behaviors, such as
got her going from one platform to another.
Jumping.
So we can get her to go up onto another platform, a somewhat higher platform, by using the same method. Get off the table. And now we're running around. Here, Wendy.
There's a new cue.
One of the first things that
Good
we
one.
taught her, and that tapping twice, that's our come cue.
Various behaviors can be combined into what's known as a behavior chain. Behaviors linked by cues.
Now the stick coming backwards has been our signal to sit, and eventually we'll be able to put a word on it. Now we've been using a couple of taps to get her up on any surface, and now you can see she's starting to sit. When we put it on an intermittent schedule of reinforcement, we can have her go from one stool to another and then sit with a reward every third, fourth, fifth time, whatever.
Now that the cat understands behavior chains, Catherine's going to use a target to develop quite a complex behavior. In this case, the target is a spot of light from a flashlight on the floor.
What we've been experimenting with is light. And we know that cats like to chase things, so we have had her associate the light beam with food. And we're able to lead her around with that. And we've associated a click in here, which is going to come a little bit later. She takes our word for it. Wherever the light is, she assumes that there's food there. And we're able to direct her around with that. The second part of this is to have her follow the light and accept the food a little bit later. So that we can direct her path around with that. Now we're going to get her to go through the closed tunnel for the first time. And we were having a little bit of trouble with that. Now what we've done now is to fold the tunnel back a little bit so that she can see out. And we're going to give her some rewards for that. And what I plan to do is put this on a schedule of intermittent reinforcement to increase the intensity of the response. And then what we're going to do is suddenly pull it flat, and hopefully she goes through it very quickly without thinking a lot about it. What we're going to do now is to get her to open the door. So we're going to start rewarding any kind of foot movement in the door area. We want her to go through the tunnel, which she already knows how to do, but open the door first. We're using the light to direct her. Let me close that door a little bit again. We want her to do it with her feet. So we're rewarding her for any kind of foot movement towards that end. And I'm bringing her in a clockwise direction around the tunnel because that's the easiest direction to open that door. Well, we got it.
You can see how Catherine uses the click instead of the treats to communicate to the cat. And maybe you can see how you would be able to train a cat to do these things yourself. But Catherine took it a few steps further. Watch what she does with a really long behavior chain.
Whoa. Tunnel. Over. 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 Tunnel. Over. Tunnel. Sit.
Let me introduce you to Coralie Burmaster, the editor of the Clicker Journal, and her mule, Ringo. Ringo was rescued from the rodeo. He'd been abused and had the scars to prove it. He was afraid to let anyone touch him. That's why he's got shavings hanging from his belly. Coralie decided to take him into the wash stall in her barn, and he bolted backwards and dragged her the full length of the barn. So she got her son to videotape it, she got out her clicker, and she started to shape him to go into that wash stall.
Note the good timing of Coralie's clicks. A foot movement causes a click, and a click earns a treat. Ringo, however, has decided that that line on the barn floor is as far as he's going to go. He is a mule, after all. This is the point at which a traditional trainer might be inclined to use a little force, shoo him from behind or something. We don't want to do that. The point of clicker training is to let the animal volunteer the behavior, to encourage the animal to think for himself. The barn cat makes a cameo appearance in all of Coralie's videos. Ringo's thinking about heading for the barn door again. But then Coralie's got the treats. She's asking him to come into this scary place, so he's in a quandary. Here's an old horse trainer's trick. Move the head from side to side, throw the animal off balance a little. Maybe it will have to take a step. But Ringo's onto that one. Remember, every time you click the behavior, it's like money in the bank. You're making progress.
It's like you're clicking just for his rebalancing.
Coralie's son, also a horseman.
He has two choices now. He can move his front feet or he can go backwards. That's it. I don't know what the full potential of a mule is, standing all 4 feet in one spot.
But at least you know he could balance on a tree stump.
Oh, putting the food on the ground. That proves irresistible. Still, Ringo acts as if he's walking on hot coals, and he leaves his hind feet on the other side of the line for quite a while. These are the moments that make shaping so exciting for the trainer. Might not look like much to the bystander, but we know a big bridge has been crossed here. And Ringo's snorting. He has a sense of event as well. He gets a couple of treats for just plain nothing, just because he did the job. Now, the wonderful thing about clicker training is that it sticks. The animal is not just learning by rote. The animal really understands what it did. Coralie doesn't need to get out her clicker the second time she takes Ringo into that stall. Ringo understands what to do, and he feels pretty comfortable now. She just clicked him when he crossed the line. And for turning around. And now, when the shaping is done, is a good time for a little social reinforcement. You can see that Ringo feels he earned the fuss, and he's enjoying being fussed over too.